See?
Check your watch time.
Yes, I do. Sometimes it's 8 minutes.
Oh, I got my student ID today.
Maybe they skip
And
through
in
it.
my
I don't
picture, I
know.
was literally laughing because somebody was making me laugh. And my eyes were half closed, and I looked.
Who's making you laugh? Me.
No,
Hmm.
no, that's regular occasion.
Hey,
I don't even remember.
bell ringer. Bell ringer.
But she took it, and she's like, "Okay, smile." So I smiled, and then I started laughing because she wasn't taking the picture. It was like 30 seconds. She still didn't take it, and then she took it.
Oh boy.
It's a terrible, terrible photo.
I'm laughing at both this year's and last year's school pictures.
There we go. Describe the significance of Veterans Day. What is the correlation between World War I and Veterans Day? There we go.
Not
Get
wood, my
after. Get after.
I have the notes for this class, little noties.
No teas.
Did we have learning yesterday?
Huh?
Did we have a learning yesterday?
No. We just talked about Veterans Day. Oh. What happened?
So stupid. I just typed the whole thing, and it went away. And like a couple words.
Gee dang it. All right. You ready to go over it?
No.
Yep. Okay. Describe the significance of Veterans Day. I don't think there should be apostrophe there, actually. Yep. I don't know. Veterans Day. Simmers, go ahead.
It's where the United States people get to honor the veterans who served their country.
Awesome. Good work. Good work. So paying tribute, showing respect towards those who served and, currently serving and showing that that we show thanks towards them. Okay. Not to be misinterpreted with Memorial Day. Memorial Day is the ones that, passed away, that gave their all, right? That died during conflict and war. Okay. So Veterans Day, what was it called before Veterans Day? Armistice Day. Yep, good job. Armistice Day. And what was the day? When did it happen? What time? What month? Yeah, I think it did come down to the minute, didn't it? 11th second. 11th millisecond. Could you imagine? Yeah, Google did tell them that. Yeah, the 11th hour, 11th day, 11th month. Good job. And 1918, we know the end of World War I. Okay, and then 1919, President Woodrow Wilson, president during the war, okay, the whole length of the war, said that he wanted to make sure that this was remembered. That to Veterans Day. Jeffrey.
It changed to Veterans Day after the president said.
Which president?
What was the exact year?
It was Eisenhower.
Eisenhower. Good work. Good work. What year? I don't know.
Just Google
It's
how
not
to
really
say about
important.
it.
I did not Google my answers.
You did not. 1954. Okay, President Eisenhower said, you know what? World War I, yes, we show respect towards those veterans, but how about for all wars? World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Moving forward, obviously at that time it was just World War II, well, World War I, World War II, and then we had the Korean War, but even the Spanish-American War, right? Even though many of those people probably weren't around during that time, but maybe they were. Trinity.
What was this?
President Eisenhower.
When did this war end?
Ike. Huh?
The war on.
World War I? 1918.
Okay, so the oldest person in the world is 117. So would they remember that?
117.
Wow.
Why do you know that?
So yeah, I guess they would.
I'm wondering if they would know or not.
It'd be close, but I guess.
No, wait, 1918? That's past their time.
Yeah, so they're around 17 years old,
A few
18.
years ago. It would be
Probably a little less. I guess 16 years old, 15, something around there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
From Japan.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, Japan was actually involved a little bit, not much, but they were on the Allied power side. Trivia, fun facts. All right. So what is the correlation between World War I? We got it already. Armistice Day. Okay, this is where this occurred. And remember the rail car where this armistice was signed. We'll talk about it towards the end of World War I and the beginning of World War II. Hitler does something not so nice, which we'll talk about. All right. So there's the bell ringer for today. Done. Donezo. Okay. Moving on. Moving on. Trench warfare. Let's just review that real quick because I wanted to say that as a bell ringer too, but I think this one was more important. Okay, we need to show thanks. You said thank you to your grandpa, right?
Yeah.
Good. Good job. Good job. All right. So, trench warfare. What was the style of fighting in World War One? Trench warfare. There you go. There you go. What was it all about? What was describe it to me.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. Yeah, you're right.
Stalemate.
It was a stalemate, right? It was a defensive style of fighting. It was just constantly waiting for your opponent to travel across what?
No man's land.
No man's land. Why they call it no man's land?
Nobody
No one
goes.
dared to go there. If they did, they'll probably die, right? Good. So the trenches, they're dug in zigzags, right?
Yep.
Zippers. Yeah, zigzags. Why they do that?
Prevent mass.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So with the new forms of technology like machine guns, submachine guns, okay, this was alarming. It's like, hey, if this would happen, let me see. Yeah, I'm presenting. If this would happen, then this might cause some issues, especially with people jumping into the trench and taking down a whole group of people. Really extending down the length as however far the bullets will go. And if they're dug in zigzags, this would break it up a bit. This would make sure that not everybody was taken out in one blow, one shot. That's why they're dug in zigzags. For how long, though? How long were these trenches in Europe?
3 miles. No,
400 miles.
400. I don't know why I said 3.
Yeah, 400 miles. Good job. 400 miles that we had.
400.
You're kind of close.
That's not.
What's that?
3 miles, 400 miles is not.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
It's just one of those days.
Give or take, one of the two, Yeah, so 400 miles, stretching from what body of water? No. Red Sea.
I wrote that.
English Channel, right? Okay, the French coast, and all the way down towards the Alps.
Yeah,
Yes,
really
the Alps, Switzerland, going towards southern Germany. All right,
Sounds like 3 miles to me.
3 miles. So 400 miles of trenches dug throughout Europe, and you can still see the effects today. Even in some cases between France and Germany, in some places you can see these where these trenches were located. Obviously, they didn't look like that they did back then, but you can still see some of the damage and environmental impacts of World War I still, which is interesting. I think, even after World War II or whatever might have happened afterwards, obviously. So with the trenches, what was established right in front of the trenches? Barbed wire. What was the use of that?
Get people
Protection.
protection.
No advancement.
Yeah, good job. So if, let's say the opposing enemy wants to try to travel across no man's land and set an invasion, they're feeling risky, right? They're feeling aggressive. This barbed wire would halt them. That would stop them just a bit, so that it'd be easy pickings for these machine gunners, these riflemen, snipers, whatever it might be. So yeah, for protection against your front line, your front trench. And we know, like we talked about already, we have the supply trenches, supply lines leading up to the front line. Right. 2 would probably be places where there'd be batteries, armor, or ammunition stored, maybe food. Okay. 3 would be planning, strategizing the next attack, the daring trek across no man's land. And way behind, we have Leave behind the trenches we have
Artillery.
artillery. Good work. So I'll just put an A there, artillery. And the artillery is used to try to attack any type of approachment from the other force in no man's land, even attacking the alternate trench. Okay, constantly artillery barrages would happen, vice versa, you name it. Okay. So that's kind of what the trenches look like, the style of fighting, and typically what was going on in World War I with this type of engagement. Okay. Today we're going to talk about how these countries, these forces, tried to attack each other across no man's land, which is interesting with new forms of weaponry and technology. Okay, which I'll let you guys work on an activity later on that. So, real quick, the lifestyle of a soldier in the trenches. Describe it a little bit. What kind of impacts did they face? Experiences?
Insanity.
Trench foot,
Hand, raise hand.
Oh, you're talking to me.
Go ahead, Forney.
Sickness, disease, death, and extreme.
Yeah, good job. All right, they didn't have really food and water, right? It was low, it was limited, and you got to think this area, the environment is very similar to what we face here in PA, right? Pennsylvania. We have cold temperatures during November, December, okay, January, February, constant snow, rain. The cold temperatures in the summers. It gets very hot, very humid, so it's going to be very hard to try to keep and preserve meals and food. So lack of food, lack of water. That was one of them. Good. Disease, sickness, like you said, spreading amongst these people because they're so jam-packed, tied against each other in these trenches, trying to fight one another, obviously, and stay close together. And with the water, was there any drainage? No, not at all. So the water, the elements, obviously, with rain, snow, it would just sit at the bottom of the trench, and there's really not much they could do about it. Okay, and these people would constantly be wet, constantly sitting and standing in mud, and this would cause their feet to prune up, their hands to prune up. We know what happens with that. We feel irritated. We start to skin a little bit. We start losing feeling in our feet and our hands. You name it. Okay, a very poor time in these trenches. Lack of sleep, right? Really no rest because you're waiting for your opponent to attack you. So you're constantly waiting and staying up all hours of the night in fear of what might happen. What else? What else? Trinity.
Shell shock.
Shell shock. Yeah, good job. What is that?
Bleeding of the ears because the sound of the artillery is being shot deafening.
Yeah, all these new weaponries, forms of weaponry, artillery, cannon fire, different types of explosions going on around you, grenades, okay, you name it, machine guns, rifles, snipers. A lot of these people would hear that, constantly hear the barrages and just kind of be second nature for them. Like we mentioned, bleeding the ears. Okay, PTSD, what is that? Yeah, good job. So after the war, many soldiers that came home experienced this because they'd never witnessed this type of brutality before. So dead bodies piling up around them. What'd they do with them? Nothing. They just kind of left them in the trench, or they used them as kind of meat shields, right? Call them meat shields. But trying to protect themselves from opposing fire. They would just kind of roll the bodies up. It's like, well, we're going to find use with some of these bodies, obviously, sitting there. So the smell would attract insects, mice, right? To a point where many of these people were kind of eaten alive by these mice, which is very scary to picture because they're constantly staying up all hours a day, low caloric intake, they're sluggish, losing feeling in their feet because of cold weather, constantly being wet, and it would be just a terrible time.
What did they eat?
Boredom. Good. I was going to get to that one. Boredom. Okay, so they didn't have phones. They could play Among Us or Angry Birds or Doodle Jump, whatever it might be.
You're a little past that.
A little old, a little past that. Oh, it's still fun games, though. Still fun games.
Except one of them not even on the option because somebody got killed over it.
Balloon tower defense, whatever it might be. Yeah, so they didn't have these types of things. Maybe they had some cards, playing cards. Maybe they just acted things out. But for the most part, boredom struck these places in the trenches. Can you imagine that? 4 years just waiting in a trench? It's like, oh, terrible time. Unbelievable. All right, and then today we're going to talk about some of the impacts of weaponry and technology that caused even more of a problem for these people fighting in this war. Okay, here we go. Real quick so I can get you working on your activity. All right, how to break the deadlock. how to break it. Okay, so we know World War One as being a stalemate, stagnant fighting, trench warfare, mostly defensive, waiting for your opponent to attack. And well, this came to the conclusion that these countries need to try to improvise. They need to try to come up with ways of going across no man's land and be aggressive and take over some of the trenches of the enemy, the opposing enemy. So we have new weapons that were developed. Okay, the first one I want to talk about, poison gas. Oh no, Germany decided, well, the best way to try to stop some of these advancements from the Allied powers across no man's land, the best way to try to push a lot of these soldiers out of their trenches is throw a bunch of poison gas at them. Something that would burn their eyes, fill their lungs full of fluid, okay, cause irritation to people's nose, mouth, whatever it might be. Okay, this was a way to try to really push these soldiers out of their trenches and to prevent any type of attacks across no man's land. So when you look at World War One, you see a lot of people, a lot of soldiers wearing gas masks the whole war, and that was to try to prevent from these types of attacks. After World War One, the world came together and decided, you know what, maybe we should try to outlaw using poison gas. But did that stop it? Not really. I mean, they tried to do their best, but for the most part, war is war. You're going to find an advantage either way. So poison gas, chlorine and mustard gas, introduced by Germany. Machine guns. Okay, we know machine guns. Obviously, travel across no man's land. You're in the trench. You got to be very versatile. You got to have something that's easily, you can maneuver around pretty well. So submachine guns were used heavily during this war because you're not going to carry this huge machine gun across no man's land. You'll be a sitting duck. So you need something that's very lightweight. Okay, something that you can utilize and maneuver around at a fast pace. So submachine guns were used very heavily during this, and obviously in the trenches they had heavier machine guns to try to mow down anybody that was coming across no man's land. Flamethrowers. Okay, flamethrowers were around for a little bit of time, but utilized heavily in World War One. Okay, not very efficient during this war. During World War II, we'll see a little bit more of an impact and significance, especially in the Pacific theater. Okay, but with flamethrowers, to try to flush out an enemy out of the trenches, it was used heavily during World War One, and to try to prevent any types of soldiers coming across no man's land. Let's say they get caught up in the barbed wire, rather than wasting a bullet, wasting ammunition, just catch them on fire, watch them burn. Terrible stuff, but what was utilized as. The weapon also, with flamethrowers, it needed 4 or 5, maybe even more men to utilize it, to actually use the weapon. You have one person holding the hose, the end of it, shooting the flame. You have 2 or 3 people holding the hose, okay, carrying it across no man's land. And it was very hard to really carry and maneuver around with. The tanks even. You guys know those dollies? Sometimes they had a dolly of these tanks and just try to roll it across no man's land. It took a long time to do. Or they just carried a couple people carrying this tank with the ignition fluid to send to utilize the flamethrower. And obviously they're easy pickings. Why? What would the opposing enemy aim for, you think? The tank. So it exploded. Okay, that happened a lot. So flamethrowers, yeah, they're used, but very dangerous. Not many people wanted to use this type of weapon because they knew it would probably happen. And it just, you needed multiple people to use it, okay, and it was just a slow attack, slow assault with it. Artillery guns, we know, okay, launching artillery, different types of explosives into no man's land at the opposing trench. Tanks and armored cars, okay, this is a big one. So tanks and armored cars. So remember how I said the railroad system, right? Transportation. Now we're utilizing different types of automobiles, okay, even armored vehicles onto the battle scene towards the end of the war. Right? Tanks, not as what we see in World War II, not as what we see today. You know, easy to maneuver. Okay, they can move at a fast pace. Tanks during that time really didn't move that fast. Their top speed was probably like 5 to 10 miles per hour.
Oh my God.
Okay, not very fast. Even at that rate, it means it's pretty quick. But let's say 2 to 3 miles per hour, very slow.
Where do they go now?
What's the point of them?
Well, I'll tell you. So they didn't really have any types of weapons mounted on it. They didn't have a huge cannon on them. You know, eventually towards the end of the war, yes, but in the beginning, not so much. There's only pockets, openings where people could use their rifles, machine guns out of it. That's about it. And you didn't want to be trapped in a tank just because you're sitting duck, right? And the constant bombardment on that tank, the bullets hitting the armor is deafening to many people, okay, in the tank. So it was shell shock, things like that. And with the tank, it broke down a lot. Broke down a lot. You have to figure, because you're going across mud, you're going across areas with treacherous landscapes, okay, obstacles in the way, you know, even trenches to try to stop these armored vehicles from getting close to your own trench. So they break down. And let's face it, it's a huge armored vehicle, right? You need something very powerful, a very powerful engine and motor to get this thing across and into places where you need it. So the tank was really just used as a battering ram. That was it. They didn't have huge weapons on it. They didn't have huge cannons on them. Towards the end of the war, you see it, but in the beginning, not so much. Okay, so they're used to just really pound through barbed wire, okay, pound through any types of defenses, and there'd be a squadron behind, following, using it as a shield in a way to try to protect themselves getting into the opposing trench. And as they got into the opposing trench, they just kind of crashed down. There's really nowhere to go. So the guys in the tanks are like, all right, we did our due diligence, and that's about it. We'll just sit in here. Hopefully they clear the trench out. If not, we're screwed, right? We're screwed. So the tank, yeah, it was used heavily. Didn't work the greatest. Used more as a battering ram. Submarines, all right, U-boats, we know that. Germany utilized this to try to take down many cargo ships, supply ships coming to Europe to help Great Britain and Russia and France. But these submarines, if it wasn't for unrestricted submarine warfare, which we're going to talk about, who knows? The United States maybe could have joined the German side. It really wasn't that so far-fetched. Okay, we'll talk about that more when we get to unrestricted submarine warfare. And finally, airplanes. Okay, the Wright brothers, right? Early 1900s, 1904, 1905. Using this new type of technology, mostly just gliding. Okay, that was it. Okay, the airplane really didn't have as much efficiency as what we know it today, and even during World War I. So 1904, mostly just used the glide. Okay, but by 1914, moving up towards the later end of the war, 1917, 16, 18, okay, these airplanes would be what we know as today, maneuvering around, going around 100 miles per hour, close to 200 miles per hour, very fast, efficient, used for bombing runs to destroy supply lines, used to destroy military bases, okay, industries, factories, and even dogfights. What are dogfights? Simmers?
Plane beat plane.
Yeah, plane versus plane, right? Aerial fighting, okay? Planes fighting each other in the air. First time ever in world history that is happening in World War I. This is when it occurred. So can you imagine, right? Just 10 years, really, 1904 to 1914, let's just say that. The airplane has just advanced so much during that time, that short 10 years. And their only reason for it is because of war. Unfortunately, war brings the best out of science and the best out of technology, but they're utilized to kill people, right? It's utilized to try to be the most effective in ending and destroying your opposition. Right? So unfortunately, you see a lot of these advancements through tough times like war. But I think it's amazing how it expanded that quick. And then obviously in World War II, you see it expand even more within a short 20, 30 years. You'll see jet planes, right? Go from an airplane like that to a jet. What? Doesn't make any sense. What's my mind? And then, right, space, getting into outer space in the 60s. Crazy stuff. All right, any questions on that? Good? You see how weapons technology really expanding during this war. Okay, I got a short video for you. You guys check out that trench warfare experience. Stayed up all night looking for that, and you guys don't even care.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. It's interesting.
Huh? All right, let me stop this video here. So please check out the assignment for today. Make sure to do for tomorrow. Okay, make sure it's done. I'm going to attach a video for you. Check it out.